Yeah, sure, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. We would like to wholeheartedly welcome each one of you for the 119th session on child skill development at an early age and an impact by our honorable resource person, Mrs. Deepa Rani, who is a counseling psychologist. And this is on behalf of the different organizers of the Deccan Positive Mental Health webinar group, which has Manasa Shubhakara Mindcare Hyderabad, Yellow Pond Counseling Center, India, Chorus Creative Arts Studio, Punjab, Sri Deepti Counseling Center, Hyderabad, Global Learning Center, Hyderabad, Shrisha Counseling Center, Kozhikode, and Mindstyle Hub of Kolkata. I would like to introduce our resource person for the day and happy to have you, ma'am. Mrs. Deepa Rani, ma'am, Agarwal is a double graduate in commerce and law. She worked at DLUT as an advocate for 9 years in the legal team. Her job role included document reviews, fact finding, and due diligence. She also worked on policy framing as per the norms of DLUT. She has set up an academy called Saga Academy, training people on English, soft skills, and personality development. Of late, she has completed her diploma in clinical psychology and management skills from NITI Aayog with the Impact Foundation APAI. With that very short introduction, I would like to welcome you, ma'am. The floor is yours. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Anita ma'am. And good evening to everybody who is there on in the meeting. I'm really happy to have been welcomed into this meeting. I have high regards for Sunanda ma'am, with whom I have been associated since a couple of months now. I look forward to having many more such associations. So coming to today's topic, today we are dealing with the topic named early childhood skill development. What kind of skills should we develop in early childhood and then middle school and the high school? And how does this help us in creating a full-fledged individual? If we do not do these things in a proper manner, what could affect and what could be the results? This is the brief of what we are going to talk today. I'm just trying to share my PPT so that it's easy for you to follow.
Yes.
I hope you're able to see the screen. Like we all know that the early ages are really important, and the child's brain is developed by 90% by the age the child is 6-year-old. And still, this learning process continues till he has completed his schooling age at least, after which the child decides what discipline he or she wants to go into. The screen is visible to everybody, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah. So coming to the importance of foundational skills, I think that cognitive skill development, the fine motor skill development, the large motor skill development, the social skill development, emotional quotient, everything is important. But those are very commonly topics. So I wanted to get into the nitty-gritties of how we can help a child in the real world to deal with his day-to-day life, to deal with every small situation that children are going to face. When I looked into those things, I found that importance of foundational skills like cognitive development, social emotional development, and academic success is really important. And every parent is spending in lakhs. They're putting the children into international schools just to make sure that these three things are met. When we boil down it further, we understand that handwriting skill is something which we all, as adults, had really good time with. Like, I have crossed like four decades in my lifetime, and I feel that we all were very lucky to have had a really beautiful childhood. We were used to write so much, and our fine motor skills automatically developed. We also helped our mothers in kitchen and our fathers in gardening, maybe anything that could. Because there was so much of work to our limbs, but nowadays the thing is going off. So that is leading to our damage of not developing the fine motor skills properly. The day in and day out, every student goes through this and the handwriting difficulty. I've seen many students in the recent past who are having difficulty in holding the pencil properly, in writing properly, who cannot complete their notes. Teachers are getting so boggled down that they are just sending the e-notes and they're asking them to complete it home. Again, coming back to us, asking help, that the child who is not able to complete it in 8 hours in school, how are we supposed to complete in 2 hours in the homework time? So the cycle just goes on, and people keep throwing things on each other, and finally the child suffers. The creative writing and communication skills are really has been glorified now, because how much ever the knowledge a person has, it will not be reaching to the optimal level until the communication skills have been created. Have been developed in that child properly. If the child is not able to express his thoughts properly, or not able to write it in the proper manner so that the other person can understand it or generate his thoughts. Like nowadays, you have seen that many people, even the youngsters, are talking in the TED Talks. How are they different from other kids? They have worked on these, on their imagination skills, on their language skills, and their communication skills. So can we do anything about this? How can we foster the creative writing skills in children? Though the work of psychologists look really simple in this world, but the truth is that every psychologist, as a psychologist, we are holding a great responsibility of the society, because we are trying to help the people to get into a right frame of mindset wherein they can help themselves to become better people. Storytelling, that's a biggest device. You have also seen this Panchatantra. As you all know, the Panchatantra was made just for 3 kids who were not prepared for the future, who didn't have any emotional intelligence and social intelligence. The king was so much worried about those 3 kids, and he went to one of the rishis, Vishwakarma. I'm sorry, I don't remember the guru's name. Okay, Vishwamitra, I think.
Vishnu Sharma, ma'am. Vishnu Sharma.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't want to say it wrong and just go forward. That's right. So Vishnu Sharma, so what he did is he created some stories, including some of the animals and the different scenarios in which the regular human nature is depicted in different forms. From each of the story, he taught them how to implement those stories into their real life. How a person is supposed to react in certain situations. In today's scenario, how a person should handle the body shaming, the bullying at the school, or bad language that is being used all around us. All those things were taken care of by just storytelling. The character creation. How can a person be described? Why a person is described as a good person or a bad person? Imaginative play, writing prompts, all these can help them improve their creative writing. Writing is not fostered in schools nowadays, and it has a lot of negative effects. As I already told, the fine motor skills are going off. The communication barriers are also coming, because writing 1 time is equal to 10 times repetitions by oral. That's what we learned, right, when we were growing up. Because when we write, we are using our mind, eye, and hand together. There is a coordination between our 3 organs, and that is why we are imbibing a lot of information into our brain, which is totally missing right now. The importance of enhancing reading ability in children. After the writing, there is the most important part, and then the creative writing and communication. Now, the importance of reading ability. How many children are getting attracted towards the gadgets? How many children are really interested in everything else except reading the books? Why is it happening? It is happening, as per my research and my experiences with my children. Most of them do not have the ability to read. They do not have proper phonics that have been developed in their early ages. The letter recognition is a problem. They do not know how to write B. The right creation of I have to more than 80% of the children are still confused between B and D, and they sometimes write the letters in the opposite directions, or because the sound association has not been made, the blending sounds have not been properly given to the children, except for few children who are really put into good. The systems are there, But the systems, how much ever they try to do it, sometimes the children are absent because of sickness. Sometimes the children are absent because of trips that they are going to some family function, or there could be some other issue, or there's just the rain, or sometimes if parents are not in a position to drop them. All these things create the learning gaps, and these things are leading to reading ability mismanagement. How can we enhance the reading skill into them, and what are the deficiencies of reading skill leading to? That is leading to many problems. Again, it goes back to social and emotional intelligence, because if the child has not read much of the text, which is the reading and listening, these two are our windows to the world. They are giving us inputs. Speaking and writing are the outputs. Now everybody would see the output. The child is not able to speak. The child is not able to write. But have they understood that the amount of reading that has to happen at early ages, if that is not done, automatically it will lead to the lower outcomes. What are their academic struggles? That starts with reading, because the child is not able to properly, even if the children are taught phonics, but still they do not have the comprehending skills. Comprehending skills is a totally different thing. This is happening because of no proper talks between the parents and the children, because of lack of time. Now, how can we? Sorry?
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you please put the slide on presentation mode? It's not visible, it seems.
Oh, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Put it in the presentation mode only. Let me do it one more time, ma'am.
And you're on fifth slide, no, ma'am?
Yeah, I think so. Stop sharing, and I'll do it again. Yeah. Tell me, this is better? Is this better?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
okay. Developing reading and comprehension skills in the children. How can we do it? We can do it by vocabulary building. That is most important thing. Though it is like step-by-step process. What happens is the expectation from the children are truly high, both by the teachers and by the parents, but then they miss on these smaller steps that they are missing through. The vocabulary building, questioning, inferencing. Are there enough adults available around the children who are going to answer the questions? The curiosity is completely killed because of this. Because adults who can answer the questions are not available as much they used to be available earlier. Now, also, this is really important. The summarization and retelling. I keep telling this, my intermediate girl. She reads and writes very nicely because she belongs to the before 2012 generation. But the bad thing is that she doesn't believe in retelling and summarizing as we did. And as per the natural forgetting curve, more than 80% of the content that they have learned is lost after a certain period of time. So this is happening because children are not summarizing and retelling what they are doing. Benefits of strong reading foundation. What would it be? First thing is like academic success. Lifelong learners. They are always lifelong learners, because whatever we have done in our childhood, we really love doing it. Like why everybody likes their mother's food cooked by their mothers is only because they had it when their subconscious mind was more active. And personal fulfillment and career opportunities are also dependent on this, because this is again the butterfly effect. Any small change would have triggered so many different ways. The child might have felt not at par with others because of reading inability, and the child might have felt lost in the classes. The comprehending skills, if they were less, the vocabulary, if it was less, the child would definitely suffer. How can I enhance the communication skills? By active listening. What do you mean by that? Active listening is you have to be really involved in the conversation. Like how I am presenting the PPT without actually reading the lines. I'm doing it from what my experience taught me. So that is called as active listening and being actively participating. Verbal expression, definitely that is one part of the communication, and also the non-verbal communication also has to be acknowledged. If that is done, then definitely the communication skill can be enhanced. Fostering communication and expression again comes back to verbal communication, non-verbal communication, reading and writing, which is a major part that is missing from every child's dailyhood now. Building a strong math foundation. Why is it important? Because maths is an abstract subject. You cannot smell it, you cannot feel it, you cannot touch it, you can't do anything with maths. And that is why everybody who is, people are mostly attracted towards the science-based careers, because science has something deliberate that you can touch and feel or experiment with. Science labs. Can you mute everybody? Yeah. So I was talking. Yeah, so I was talking about the strong math foundational skills. Why are they important? Because they're all abstract. You cannot touch math. As you can do science, chemistry, physics. You have certain instruments that you can feel and show that this is the resonance, this is the reflection, this is the refraction. All those things are possible. But in math, you literally have nothing that you can touch and show. Now schools are adapting few more steps towards this by giving them some manipulatives, which they can actually see what a square is, what a circle is, but then again it is stopping at the shape or maybe the number of count. After that, the math is abstract. And this is why every child has to be given a proper strong math foundation. Problem solving skills comes from there, because as we do in math, every problem has a solution. Your subconscious feeds into it that every problem has a solution in real life also. Math skills develop critical thinking and problem solving skills. It can help a child or adult in data analysis and analytical skills. What does that graph mean? What does that data mean? All these skills are developed only because of learning math at the age of 16. Learning math only in the early ages is not sufficient. Learning math at the age of 16 helps your frontal lobe to properly develop. That's shown. That's already shown by the results of the many researchers. Developing math in your numeracy, again, there can be simple things like number recognition, simplification, subtraction. Now, going to the next topic, that is exploring creative outlets. As you know that in Hindu Dharma, or I don't know much about the other religions, but I would say that in olden days, like Zakir Hussain, who was like the top tabla player, or anybody who can, Lata Mangeshkar, who was who sang songs for the film industry till she was 90 years old. Why did they learn those things? Why is it not given so much of importance today? Because now everything is related to how much you can earn. Once you get older, how much is your earning capacity because of the skill that you're learning. But do you know, in many of the foreign universities, they're still giving importance to the creative things that the child might have done in their earlier years, because it builds different kinds of synapses in your brain. It builds neural pathways that can actually help the child take better decisions, be more creative, be more imaginative, be more open to discussion. Yeah, so exploring creativity. You know that we have this 5 Lalita Kallalu, in that the drawing and painting comes to the second place. The first place goes to the Saptaswaras. Irrespective of the religions, even before the religions existed, these creative arts existed. From then on, people used to foster and learn it so much, and they used to love and relax to do that. Now, major issue that is being faced by today's world is stress, right? Because there have been many surveys. Everybody is facing stress at in some amount. May not be a child or maybe an adult. So these creative arts can really let out this stress. It can also enhance the cognitive skills and observations, spatial reasoning. I've seen nowadays children are hitting themselves through walls when they are passing through a lane because they have no proper spatial understanding. That is developed with drawing. You know how much of those and how much space you have to leave at the top and the bottom and the sides. Slowly it feeds into your subconscious, and then the child becomes more spatially oriented. The problem solving abilities also come from, like, if you have to create such certain shade, if you use this medium, what happens? What happens to my imagination? If the apple is not red, if it is pink in color, how will it look like? If the apple was white in color, how would it look like? The fine motor skills are also developed through drawing because it takes a lot of patience for anybody to complete it. But I've seen parents who give a damn to arts because they think in no way it is going to help my child develop as an individual. They think that this is a subject which is not going to give any marks during the exams. But if you see how our parents brought us up, I'm sure anybody who has crossed 4 decades or 3 decades would definitely be put into one art form. Exploring different mediums of art, like painting, drawing, sculpting, collage making, photography, and then any music that you can learn, instrumental music. All these are really helping you to develop the positive attitude in the child. The role of positive educators, because I'm into education field, I feel it is my moral responsibility to relate it to the psychology. Nurturing environment has to be created at every institution, every setup. Individualized attention is required by certain people, certain children in today's world, because they are being so much neglected, not willfully, but by circumstances. Maybe as a parent also, maybe I'm not doing so much of justice as a in my duties as a mother, as my mother did. Like, she was dedicated like 3 to 4 hours once we were back from school. But today I'm able to give only 1 hour to my children. That too with a lot of conscious effort. So that is already missing from our lives. That is why the educator's role becomes really critical. Early childhood education building a foundation of life. Definitely this is known by everybody. Whatever we have done in the earlier first 7 to 8 years is going to impact the whole life of the child. Again, going back, these all have lifelong advantages. Improved communication, enhanced critical thinking, increased confidence, bridging the learning gaps. Is it possible? My child has already crossed 7 years, 8 years. What should I do now? Definitely, there is a chance to bridge the gap. Early intervention, still it will be counted as. Why? Because the child has to still live like 24 years of her his, what do you say, the graduation life. So the middle school age children would be around 10 to 12 years. Still, they have so many years to go forward. So even if they get help at this point, that's going to really help them. Being collaborative. Collaborative learning, what does it mean? Whatever they have learned from English or math or arts, the mind doesn't think it as a different department altogether. It mixes it up and then uses it when it is required. Like if you just go into your kitchen when you're making a recipe, suddenly you simply randomly pick up whatever you want and you just make your dish tasty. That's how the brain works. It will pick up whatever it has learned at the point when it needs. Developing reading, writing, and speaking skills in high schools is also really important. If the child has already crossed the middle school, also no problem. Still, we can work on these skills and gain the confidence in the child by doing public speaking, effective writing, and reading comprehension skills. We can do. So that is why in my academy, we never judge a child by their age. We do not judge a child by their grade. We take the child as the child has come to us, assess them properly, and accordingly help them. Instead of throwing them into again a judgment that you're already in 7th grade and still you're not able to read BA that. We don't do that. So that we have seen that hundreds of people have come out of their traumas that I'm not able to write. I'm not able to read. Many parents who are worried about the children's future. What will happen to my child once he goes into engineering? What will happen to my daughter when she goes into designing? All those things are being taken care at the earlier stages if they bring the child to the good teachers. The role of arts in different stages of life, I think we have talked about it a lot. Yeah, so how can we empower the children for the future success is by these things: expression through art, academic excellence, effective communication, and active citizenship. That's all from my side. I hope the presentation made sense to you. And I have put up most of my experiences here because data that is found already in Google, I think that is not as valuable as somebody's experiences in life.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody, if they have any questions to ask, they can raise their hand or put the question in the comment box. Any questions, any queries, or any doubts? Ma'am, there is a question from Yogesh Dwivedi.
Yeah.
How does reinforcement help in developing good habits in children?
Okay. So generally, children who are doing something which is not to be done, they're doing it only to gain attention because they also know it that this has not to be done. So here I'll just bring up 4 points. 4 points in parenting. First stage, when you are telling them this is correct, this is wrong. If the child is doing wrong below the 7 years age, then the child is not at fault. The child doesn't know what is correct and what is wrong. But if the child is doing after the 7 years of age, it means the child knows what is right and what is wrong, but still the child is doing it only to gain attention. So how we can foster it by reinforcement is by appreciating what is good instead of focusing on what is not to be done. I have seen many parents who just say, don't do this, don't do that, don't sit here, don't walk there, don't touch the fire, don't prick your nose, but they don't know what to do. If you can give them what has to be done and appreciate what they are doing good, then they'll automatically stop doing bad.
Wonderful, ma'am. One more question. What is your view on NCF for FS under RNEP 2020?
Ma'am, whoever has this question, if they can abbreviate all the jargons that they have put in.
Harniji, can you please unmute and clearly express your question?
Yeah, yes, madam. Yeah, actually, under NEP 2020, they have come up with the national curriculum framework for foundation stage, which covers 3 to 8 years of education. Like they're giving more emphasis on storytelling and play as an act, play pedagogy and things like that. So, is that going to help in the early intervention?
Definitely, ma'am. Actually, government thinking about such kind of changes is definitely helpful. But again, as I told you, the learning gaps has to be filled by an external resource. Why? Because if there are 200 working days, very few children are attending all 200 days. Few children are attending above 170 days. On average, generally, people miss like 30% of their schooling time. And then the chain is broken. Like a chapter has already been started and they have not attended school for first 2-3 days. If they're attending school from the fourth day, all that has happened the first 3 days will impact his next 7 days also. So that is how the learning gaps are created. And also the summer holidays, when they are given a lot of gadgets, their mind goes dumb. Because what the children learn during the gadget watching time is that they don't need to react to anything. They don't need to move a single body part to be happy. That's what gadgets are subconsciously feeding them in their brain. So to deal with certain these things, the parent should definitely take an active role in playing puzzles, solving few things that at home together, and getting in touch with good teachers who can actually link up these broken things. Because nowadays, taking vacation is mandatory. Going to family functions is mandatory. Falling sick is not in our hands. Some pandemic like Corona hits, and then every child is gone back by 2 years. Who will fulfill all these learning gaps? So we as a parent, we cannot take the chance, and then we will have to take the charge.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hope I've answered your question properly, isn't it, ma'am?
Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you, ma'am.
If anybody is having any more questions or any doubts, please raise your hand, or you can unmute and ask, or put it in the chat box.
Yeah. Every second and fourth Saturday, so second and fourth Sunday, we conduct webinars on different skill sets, like how to enhance your reading ability, how to enhance your writing ability. If possible, let your children attend that. That'll help them maybe to pick up few things. If you think that they really need personal attention, then you can always get back to us.
Sure, ma'am.
Yes,
I think
Purti Vinay has raised the hand.
Ma'am, good evening. Thank you so much for a wonderful session. I have a query. So, my 6.5-year-old son has recently picked up on, lying. Not so big or, something that's damaging. But still, when I ask him if he had this glass of milk, he says, yes, I had. And when there is a class that needs to be attended, when I ask him, he says, no, that's been cancelled. So, it's been just white lies, but still I am picking up the pattern. So what needs to be done, and where am I going wrong as a mother or a parent?
Sure, ma'am. Thank you for bringing this up. This is a crucial thing. First, tell me, ma'am, how much time are you spending with the child? Proper time where there is no other talk, only except your motherhood and the childhood.
Honestly, not much, ma'am, because most of the time I'm just being his, feeder, or making him get ready, taking him around for his classes, dropping him, picking him up. So those kind of things. So while dropping and picking him up, I usually try to communicate, and he's a very closed, very silent kid. He doesn't really like to talk or express. So even that is kind of an alarming thing for me.
The second question for you is, ma'am, like how much time is the child spending on the gadgets?
Around 30 to 40 minutes in a day, ma'am. Not gadgets, just television. We don't let my kids watch phones. So by default, they don't ask for any gadgets. So it's only the television. And I make sure that they watch, education related. Yeah.
Very good, ma'am. Actually, that is a good choice that you have made, that the child has to watch it in public area instead of taking it, because what happens with the smaller gadgets is they can take it to any place.
Yes.
So, and secondly, the things that pop up on mobile phones are really bad. They are made with the intention to distract children. So that is a good thing, that is a good initiative that you have taken, and don't be guilty about not being available with your child for a much longer time, because you're doing a lot of things, and we all are doing it. We are all just satisfying the physical needs. Have they eaten properly? Has the nutrition been proper? Has the mind skills been given? And all. We have to see these all. The only tip I would want you to give is what I have observed as a pattern is, as soon as the child comes from the school, at that point, if you can just give him like 15 to 20 minutes of quality time. If the child doesn't talk to you, no problem. You start discussing about how you spent your day, what you did, what was good, what was bad, who are your good friends, what did you do in your childhood at the same age, what kind of skills you wanted to learn, what are the skills you didn't want to learn, and you said to your parents that I don't want to do that. So the child is not burdened, and the child is ready to express, because now he's getting an input that it is okay to say no to things. It is okay to express whatever had happened to you. It is okay because nobody is perfect.
And I would like to add on another information. I have a 2.5-year-old kid. So even that could be a conflicting thing, because that could also be the reason why I'm unable to give him like proper undivided attention.
Ma'am, that is not at all a problem. Actually, what I did for my, as a parent, I would say, I felt that leaving a child alone in this world is the biggest crime that we can do. I'm not saying everybody who is single, who has given birth to a single child, is a criminal. I'm just saying that you are creating that emptiness in their life. If you're giving a sibling, actually you're doing a favor to your child. A favor to your child. You think how easily you can express your things to your sibling versus to your parents, versus to your friends who can judge you. Siblings do not judge each other generally. So that is how you're giving a good environment. What you have to do is you have to make your child responsible to taking care of your younger child, and make sure that how much ever love you're giving to your 2.5-year-old, same kind of love you're showing to your 6.5-year-old also. The
Yes.
physical touch, hugs, saying that I love you, I want you to grow into this and that, or reading storybooks together, sleep in between both of them, and then make them stand or sit on both of your sides, and then let them feel that you are treating both of them as two of your eyes. Then the distinctions would not develop. The child will never feel that he is an hindrance or she is an hindrance.
Ma'am, could the family members involved
Yeah.
can also lead to this kind of a habit of, lying, because it's a new pattern that I'm picking
No,
on, and I have seen my mother in
I'll just tell you
lying. Yeah.
we request you to please fill up the feedback forms that have been given in the chat box. In the meanwhile that I'm answering the question, please look into it immediately. So coming to the lying part, ma'am, when do you generally lie? We start lying when we don't care about the relationship. We start lying when we have already lost the trust, or maybe if you're asking him, have you done it? Have you done it? And you're not believing in whatever he says, he will think that, however, mama doesn't believe in what I'm saying, so let me do this. Secondly, if they're observing it from the elderly people, you can tell them that that is their course of action, that is their choice. But if I were into your place, I would definitely not choose to be like that, because that is a big headache in our head. You have to remember what you have told. But if you speak the truth, automatically that flow will be continuing. And then you also have to give them examples with storytelling. You don't believe me, ma'am, but nowadays children are facing a lot of abusive language when they're going out. That also is leading to lying, because they don't want to come and tell you what had happened with him or her. So if that kind of bonding is not there, later on, there is going to be a big trouble. The child will get into anything, and then you will never know what is happening. Many high-grade children are getting into drug addicts. They're getting into many criminal things just because they have no relationship with their parents. We have to take this issue really seriously. We have to give them that time, especially when they are coming from the school. And secondly, when you're going to put them to sleep, before that, at least half an hour, there should be no gadget. There should be no other person in this world who's disturbing you. Only you and your children should be there. That will help the child become normal, I think.
Thank you, ma'am. That was really very insightful. Thanks so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Suma Swami, she raised the hand.
Sure.
Ma'am, can you unmute, Suma madam? Okay. Ma'am, there is another question in the comment box, meanwhile, from Sagnika Aji. What working parents
Good
can...
evening.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Suma.
I'm Suma Swami here. Good evening. Thanks for the wonderful session we had. I just want to know something about child muting. Does child muting further lead to an introvert person when he grows into an adult? Or how to...
Ma'am, being introvert or extrovert is not at all an issue, because few professions really require introvert people only.
Yeah, that is there. It's ambivert is a universal phenomenon.
Yeah.
Because all the time we can't be an introvert or an extrovert. But is child muting a serious issue, or how to overcome that? How to teach the children so that they'll express themselves during some situations or while interacting with some people?
Sure.
When they keep mute instead.
Ma'am, we cannot teach children anything. The children will learn only by observing what we are doing. If you become
No,
more
child muting means like keep mum no towards some people. What might be the reason for them, or how to
child is
say
being muted. You're saying the child is being muted only towards few people, but not with
few
everyone.
people or situations? Some children keep mum like that. They won't express anything
They are not
during
seeing
some.
the outside world as safe as we are looking at it, ma'am. You have to give them positive thoughts towards
Yeah, that is what I want to.
yeah. And even when they have watched a horror film, it runs in their brain like for months together. I've seen it in my children. Like the images comes and goes into their mind. And also when we are teaching the art classes, we also allow the children to do the imaginative work. Many of the children draw these horrifying movies scenes, the dried up leaves and the what do you say, the Kabristan and all they draw. So that is coming only from their thoughts and because of which they are perceiving. Because there's so much of crime into the scenes. There is so much of different negative things in today's media. That is actually not encouraging children to speak and let it out. We should not be judgmental. Whatever they're doing, if you're saying for everything like why are you doing this, why are you shouting, why are you moving your legs unnecessarily, if you are giving so many instructions to the children, the child will automatically choose to be just mom, not move a limb, not move the tongue, instead of taking the comments. So that happens.
But sometimes we need to guide them about gestures and all. No?
We have to-
What
we
is
have-
good, what is appropriate in some situations, at least when they are not casual. Casually they can move, but sometimes we need to guide them how to behave, sit, stand, some gestures while in public or with guests and all. No.
Ma'am, actually, that is objectifying your children. If you're just judging them when in front of your relatives. Why? Because I've done it
Not
myself.
necessarily in front of relatives, but generally while casually we are interacting, we can just guide them.
Yeah, you can do it without commenting. You can simply do it.
Yeah.
Like for example, my child wants to get into my office and wants to talk to my colleagues all the time. Then I can say that if I come to your classroom and talk to your teacher when it is not a PTM, will you allow me? So the child should be given such kind of explanation instead of just no and yes without giving any reasoning.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
Ramya ma'am, can you please unmute and ask your query?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. So actually my question is, ma'am, like at least what I know is like I was brought up in a joint family and a lot of people were there around me. But now if you take it's a lot of neutral families, like only mom and dad and so I mean whatever skills you have discussed, the communication, creative, a lot of things we developed because we had people around and we interacted more. Now that is not there. I mean, how much our mother or father spends the time, but the number of people or number of people who actually care about us matter, right? So what is the best that we can do given the scenarios? I mean, whatever we are having.
Definitely the scenario has changed. We cannot deny that now we are nuclear families. We do not have so many people who care about us. Even earlier, teachers and everybody who was in our neighborhood also used to be, everybody was called like Pinni, Atta, Peddamma. Now we are not calling it with the same kind of affection, right? So definitely the gap has been created. What we can do is, if you are not able to socialize every day, at least on the weekends, take out 1 or 2 hours to socialize. Take them to a park or a temple or a church where they see many people interacting with each other. Now the children are living with the expression or an impression about the world that you don't need to do anything. You just have to click on the button and the world will automatically run. And this is happening because of a lot of gadget watching and a lot of absence of the people who care about us. So what we can do is we have to make sure that we are taking that out 1 hour at least per week to only socialize. We have to put conscious efforts towards it. Like for example, ma'am, we are sick and we do not, what will we do at that point? We will have to put the conscious effort to have better food, right? Same way.
Okay.
Yeah. And as I told you, for the children to be more active and more happy, you have to start sharing. For everything, take their opinion. If you're going to supermarkets, you can ask him, should I take the multigrain bread or should I take a wheat bread? What do you think? If I take this and that, which will taste better? Which has more nutrition? Create such discussion points where the child is not feeling that you're intruding into his private space.
Okay.
Get into general discussions and make sure that you're taking them out or you're asking some people to come to your home, host them, or become a guest.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. One more question in the comment box.
Sure.
What working parents can do for developing their children? From Sadhika ji.
Yeah. So, can I know what are your work timings like, ma'am?
Sadhika ma'am, can you please unmute?
Yeah. Work timing it's like 9 to 5. Like general duty, but that's a lot of time that many parents cannot give their time to their quality time to their children because after a hectic day, many parents are not able to have many parents are not having the energy to give the quality time to their children. So what parents can do in that situation?
Right, ma'am. So, what I would say is you're lucky to have a 9 to 5 job, which is a dream for many people. So, when we are coming to the 9 to 5 job, after you come back from office, immediately after coming back from office, you should show that love and desperation towards your child. Desperation in the sense like I was waiting for you for so long. I'm so happy to see you. So this is what happened in my office. You should start the conversation. It's not about how long you're spending. Now it is more about how qualitatively you're spending the time. As for every situation, wherever you're able to take out time, like on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, give them the extra effort. And as I told earlier also, when you're going to put them to bed, when you all sit for dining, all those areas, those are their private spaces. Do not bring your work to those places. That will really help. Because I have lived with the guilt of not giving proper time to my children for many years. And that is when I realized, once I studied psychology, that is when I realized it is not as difficult as it seems to be. It's only about segregating your time into different compartments. I understand that office work are overloaded and you also have to give attention after coming back to home also. So what you do is you put them to sleep or give them the quality time, complete their work, and then tell them from 9 p.m. mama is not available. And then you go back to your work. It is okay. But then not giving them time is not at all an acceptable thing. Because that is the most valuable thing a parent can provide to the children. Has it helped?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Venkatji wants to know about the training programs you conduct, ma'am.
Sure. I can share my number here on the chat box. Should I? Can I?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll share my number on the chat box, and then you can drop me a message. I'll help you with that. And every alternate Sundays, we also conduct webinars on specific skills that also you can attend to help your children. As a parent also, so as a workshop for parents also, we conduct a lot of sessions. I will keep sharing it with the Sunanda ma'am's permission if she allows. I'll keep the information shared.
Deepuji, you can unmute and ask your question.
Spurti Vinayak Garu again has raised the thing. Deepuji, ma'am. Please ask.
Spurti Vinayji, you can ask. You can unmute and ask the question. Spurti ma'am?
Ma'am, can I put my question ahead? So, ma'am, I wanted to know when is the right age for money to be introduced to kids? At what age are we allowed to give them a pocket money? Because I have seen, I have taken a lot of backlashes when elders or guests or relatives who come home, they prefer giving the money to the kids as a token of love, which I absolutely respect. But though I politely decline to, give that, because that will form a habit of, expectations from any other adults or any other guest that who comes home. Kids should not develop an expectation that okay, they're gonna get me something, okay, they're gonna give me money. So I didn't wanted that expectations to be built. So I have never given my kids any sort of money or pocket money, anything as such. But at some point, that's going to be definitely put into place. So when is the right time for us to introduce the pocket money concept to our kids?
Ma'am, as I said, there are 4 stages of parenting. The first stage, we are telling them what is right and what is wrong. At that stage, they will not make money at all. Even if you give them, they don't. Your 6.5-year-old would be starting to understand what money is. So what you have to do is, with this money, whatever he is getting, you have to develop the habit of saving. You have to bring up a piggy bank instead of developing a fear towards money. It is important that the child understands that whatever money you're getting, it is not yours. First thing, you have to put first saving. Second thing, whatever extra bucks you're getting, you have to use it for good things, like helping some poor person, or just giving a meal to a person, or just buying slippers to somebody who's walking on the road without having the slippers. These things, if you inculcate with this money, then definitely is going to give a lot of understanding about this thing. Second thing is, you can help the child whenever the child is coming along with you to supermarkets. You can allow him 100 rupees as a budget to buy today. So whatever he wants to buy, he has to see the label, turn it off, and see whether I need it or no. Will I be able to get it in this 100 rupees? Should I save these hundreds twice, thrice for to buy a thing which is 400 rupees? I have to have a budget of 400, so I'll have to wait for it. What you can teach them best is delayed gratification. Whatever money they're getting, they should not be using it then and there, and they should not have the right to spend it as they like. There should be a cap on that.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. By any chance, this session is recorded, because I just reached my destination and I have to cut the call, but I want to listen more.
Sure. If possible, we will definitely share the recording with you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Lovely meeting you. Thank you.
one last question, ma'am. How to stop a child from stealing? From Kalpana.
So you will have to, why the child is developing their stealing thing is that by our talks as adults, we keep talking about what wonders can money do. They have a big car, he has a big house, he has got into a better job, his salary package has increased. So what is happening is, all through their life, they are listening only about money transactions. And that is why they think that money is the most important thing. And that happened to my child also. So what I realized is, along with talking about these, we also have to talk about what are the different troubles that money can bring us up to. Give them financial understanding instead of giving a vague idea of about finances. Like I told them, give them a proper budget. Make them feel owner of everything that you have. But at the same time, give them a restriction on how much they can, take power, control over it. Like, for example, the child should be allowed to take the money if that is a tradition. You cannot, however, suppress it. Put it in the piggy bank. Use it for good purposes. When you come with me, you have your own budget. So you have to do shopping in that budget. Instead of refraining it, they steal because they think money is the most important thing. That is coming from our conversations. Apologies. If any other psychologists want to speak about it, please support. Does it answer your question? Does it help in any way? Financial understanding, building that true relationship will help them to get out of that stealing habit.
Thank you so much, ma'am. With your permission, can I go with the vote of thanks?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Thank you. Thank everybody who has asked good questions for everybody's benefit.
Thank you, ma'am. I want to express my sincere appreciation to Deepa ma'am for her insightful and thought-provoking session on child skill development at an early age and its impacts. Her expertise in fostering creative writing, storytelling, character creation, imaginative play writing prompts, and writing techniques to inspire ideas has not only broadened our understanding of the subject but also left a profound impact on our approach to child skill development. Furthermore, I extend my heartfelt thanks to all the enthusiastic participants and the organizing team. You have enriched our day with this session. Your engagement and enthusiasm has been the driving force behind the success of today's session. I'm deeply grateful for your contributions, which have made this a great success. On behalf of Deccan Positive Mental Health and in association with Yellow Pond India, Forest Creative Arts Studio Punjab, Sri Deepti Counseling Center Hyderabad, Clover Learning Center Hyderabad, Srisha Counseling Center Kozhikode, and Mind Style Hub Kolkata. We truly appreciate everyone's commitment and dedication. Let's meet again in the next Friday session. Once again, thank you all. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, Sunanda ma'am, and everybody in her team. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Bye, friends. Let's meet again next Friday.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.